Hey guys, welcome back to Mondays with Maria. So this week's episode is going to be a little bit of a serious one. Last week on Tuesday, I believe, we found out that Demi Lovato was rushed to the hospital because of a drug overdose. I've watched her documentary on YouTube, and it's called Simply Complicated if you want to check that out. I strongly encourage you to. Whether you're a fan of hers or not, it's just an incredible story. I gained so much respect for her. I had sort of heard what she was going through before watching this, and I just didn't really realize the extent, and obviously I don't know her life story, but it really gives you an insight into at least somewhat of an addict's point of view, and it's just an incredible story. I really strongly recommend watching it. It'll really change your view on, how she's living, but also how other people like her are living. I gained so much respect for her after watching it, and I had a lot of respect for her before, don't get me wrong, but this really just opened my eyes, and I'm such a big fan of hers, and she's such an incredibly strong person, to go through something like this, and to have your life be out, in the world and in public, that it's not easy, and to have the entire world know that you just, you have these issues, it's a hard life to live, and I think she's executed it amazingly. She's used her platform for good. She campaigns to spread awareness to the issues that not only she has, but everybody in the world has, and everybody is affected by these same things, and I think that that's an incredible reason to love her. So today's episode, I really just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. There's not one person in this world, I feel, that isn't affected by one of the things that she has been going through. A lot of this is mental illness. She has bipolar disorder, and she has, many different kinds of addictions just because of her past life, and she's really overcome them, even though this is a little bit of a step back. I know she's going to overcome this as well, but she's done a really great job to inspire her fans, to let them know that you're not alone, that getting help is the right thing to do. So of course that's what I'm here to say too. I just wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. I have never really experienced these kinds of things before. I have so much respect for people that do have these issues, because I know that it's not an easy life, and I want to be there for my friends if they're experiencing these kinds of things. And I want to be here for you guys if you are. I'm always here to listen. I love helping people. I love listening to people and just helping them through things. So if you do have something that you want to get off your chest, just let somebody know, even if it's me, So this past year at Ball State, I had recently gone to a therapist in the counseling center for a few weeks, and it was nothing serious. I was just kind of, in a really bad place at the time, and I felt like I needed to talk to somebody, and I'd never really considered going to a therapist before. I didn't really think I needed to, but I just kind of took the plunge because I was just in a really, really terrible state, and I felt like that was the only option, because, as much as I love talking to my mom about these things, and I'm grateful that I have her to go to, I felt like I needed somebody else, with an unbiased opinion, somebody who is trained and can help me professionally instead of just being a shoulder to cry on, I guess. So I just wanted to share that experience with you really quick. Honestly, it was probably the best time at Ball State, one of the best times that I had there. The guy that I had was so sweet, he was the nicest guy you'll ever meet, completely understanding, and I know that's their job to be understanding and everything, but he genuinely listened to me and tried to help me through my problems that I was having at the time. And I have a lot of stuff that had happened earlier in my life that really impacted me then, and still continues to impact me now, and I feel like after talking about it, I've sort of gotten rid of a little bit of that baggage. But I just wanted to let you know that, going to somebody like that is not awkward, it's not weird, it doesn't make you sick, it doesn't make you, somebody who people don't want to be around. After going to my therapist, I kind of started talking about it a little bit with people, and I found out a lot of people that I know go and take advantage of the counseling center at our schools. And I think that that's incredible. I feel like everybody should try therapy at least once in their lives. There's something going on in your life, I promise, that you just could use somebody to talk to that isn't a friend or a family member and is a complete stranger, you're starting from scratch, it is a great feeling. But I guess back to, you know, those who do have, you know, illnesses or disorders or addictions, you know, it can be very, very hard. You know, I don't 100% understand, and I'm not claiming to understand because I have no idea what's going on in your life, and I can't even begin to try to understand that. But coming from somebody like me, I guess, in my position, you know, I would want to know if a friend is struggling with this, and I would want to be able to help them, and I just wanted to let people know, if there is somebody watching this that does struggle with something like that, you aren't alone. You know, I know you hear this a whole bunch of times and you're like, oh, I don't believe it. You are not alone. You know, you have so many resources to go to. You don't even have to talk to somebody face to face. It can just be on the phone, or it can be to a complete stranger. You know, get a Tinder and just put on there, hi, I need somebody to talk to. You know, my friend has done that so many times. You know, she was like, oh, I'm not looking for a relationship, I'm just looking to make a friend and to talk to somebody. And she has gotten people who are in the same position as her that just want to talk. You know, and she helps them through it, and they help her through her little struggles. You know, as humans, we're born with a clean slate. You know, we're born compassionate and trustworthy and caring. We do genuinely care about other humans and other beings. And I feel like that's something that we really need to work on, especially in this day and age. You know, I was on Instagram and I saw all these memes, you know, of Demi Lovato, and they just made me sick. You know, I understand that it's a meme, and I understand that it's, you know, something that should be laughed at, and, you know, she was the one that made the poor choice, and that's okay. You know, we shouldn't punish the people who are making fun of her, but we also should not be making fun of her. You know, if this was your father, sister, mother, brother, you know, would you want somebody making fun of them when you almost lost them? And a lot of her fans feel like she is family because she has saved many of their lives, and I feel like that's something that people don't really understand. When it comes to different musicians, you know, music is something that is incredibly powerful, that we don't really even understand why it saves us, but in a way sometimes it does. And it can save us from the lowest points in our lives. And I feel like a lot of people understand that to their extent, but when it comes to other people, they just don't respect that. But how are you going to say that you don't respect that when you have gone through the same thing just with a different artist or musician? So I just encourage you, you know, don't make fun of people, especially when, you know, they just OD'd and had to be rushed to a hospital. That, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. It's just wrong. You know, one bad comment completely wipes out the thousands of great comments, and that's something that we need to take more into consideration. We hide behind screens a lot, and we don't realize that the people who are struggling with these kinds of issues are reading these. One awful comment can send them spiraling down again, and it could be your comment the next time. So that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about today. If you are struggling with addiction or any kind of mental illness, I do definitely recommend getting help, talking to somebody. You know, a lot of people don't really feel like their friends and family care about them, especially if they're going through a mental illness like depression. You know, we kind of wire our brains to that, and I've done it a couple times. You know, this kind of thing affects everybody, and it does to an extent that we just don't even understand, especially when we've wired our brains to think that, you know, these people don't care about us, and they don't care if I'm still on this earth. They don't care if I'm alive right now. But I promise you, that is not the case. You know, you've been put on this earth for a reason, and you have something to fulfill, and you are gonna have an impact on this planet whether you believe it or not. So if you are struggling with something like addiction or mental health or any kind of disorder, I do encourage you to talk to somebody, and a stranger is a really good place to start. You know, go try to find a therapist or a counselor at your school. I promise you, you know, yes, they're getting paid to listen to you, but they're getting paid to listen to you. Like, they are gonna listen to you all the time. They're gonna listen to you 100% anytime you need them. But more importantly, these are the people that are gonna be caring about you a lot more than you would think. You know, this is what they're trained to do. This is what they chose to do for a living, is to help people just like you get through your struggles. So I do encourage you to talk to somebody. So if you are interested in talking, I would recommend maybe looking up therapists in your area. I'm sure that there are plenty. If you're in school, try the counseling center. Even if you don't really have any problems and you don't think you have problems, it's a really good way to just kind of de-stress and talk to somebody about issues that you didn't even realize that you had. So if you do want to call and talk to somebody, it doesn't have to be face-to-face like with a therapist or with a friend or family member. It can be just over the phone. And I've heard that these things actually really help people out a lot, and I know I keep saying this, but I really encourage people to go and do this if you are struggling. There's a website called pleaselive.org, and it has a giant list of hotlines that you can call. Everything from abuse to gambling to eating disorders, it has it all. So check it out and see if there's somebody that you can talk to if you are struggling with something. A lot of these hotlines are going to be 24 hours, so no matter what point in the day that you are feeling stressed or feeling like you need help, you can call. You can also call the suicide prevention hotline. You can call this number right here. I'll also put it in the description. On the website you can also do a chat, so you don't even have to call. They don't even have to hear your voice. You can just type on a computer or a phone. These are really good resources, and I do really feel like they help, and I feel like people need to take advantage of them more if you are struggling. You don't have to be going through something like this alone, and it's hard enough to be going through it, let alone be doing it alone. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I feel like this was something that needed to be talked about, and Demi, we're all praying for you. I do encourage you to learn more about her story before you go and judge her and other people. You don't really ever know what's going on in other people's lives, and it's just really important to be respectful and to not really try to cross any lines before you know what's going on. So that was today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this episode, please share, comment what you'd like to see me talk about next. I would love ideas from people that are watching. I love talking, and I want to talk to you about what you want to hear. And let me know your comments about what you thought of today's episode as well. And here's a cover of Demi's song because we love her very much. I'll see you next week. Bye. Skies are crying.